Okay, so Tony, you're up.
That was pretty exciting. Let's see if I could give you guys some information. That was, I think, pretty exciting for everyone, right? For the whole community to have that center coming up. Let me go ahead and share my doc here. So Brittany has come to our facility. We're here on Concord Circle, next door to Specialized. Incredible neighborhood that we've seen so far. Just kind of being in town and meeting Edith and some of the other people that helped us, kind of secure buying this building have just made me really excited to be here. I live in San Jose. I grew up in Milpitas. My father started our business in the early 80s, and I literally grew up in a print shop my whole life. Come around the 2000s, we got into another building in Milpitas that did CD manufacturing, and we took all of our printing equipment, moved it into a CD manufacturing building off of Montague in San Jose, or in Milpitas on the border of San Jose, and we ran that for many years until kind of CDs started becoming obsolete. We ended up moving to kind of like the King and Lundy area in San Jose, so we kind of moved south. My family kind of started slowly moving south. We're all living in San Jose now. I went to Milpitas High School. I spent pretty much my whole early life in Milpitas. So I know the small town feel. I know how it was there. I see how it is here, and to me, it's very relatable. We got into other portions of the business to kind of help feed the printing. So we were doing like e-commerce, creating websites for publishers, and doing on-demand printing, things like that. So we kind of got into the e-commerce platforms as well. So here we are now. To me, it's like a third generational change. I have an older brother who is kind of running the show for the past 10, 15 years. My father's still here, but kind of playing the back seat. So my brother has decided to move out of state. And so the reins have come to me. And to me, it's like a brand new start for an old business that's been around for almost 40 years. So I'll go through this deck, which, talks to some of our services that we offer and the things that we do under this roof. And then if you guys have any questions, or if you, wanted to stop by, doors are always open, and I would definitely encourage it. So I'll go through the different, things that we do. So like I said, we do printing. That's the core business. As I said, we moved into different parts of the business, but to me, coming back to the core of the business of printing and being proud of, that essential business that it turned out to be, is exciting to me. So like the e-commerce, that's great. Things that are outside of printing, the logo merchandise, things like that, those are great, but our core business is really printing. So digital printing, and we have an offset printing. So I'll give you guys some information, on what is versus the other. So digital printing is, full color printing, limited to, say, for example, a 14 by 20 inch sheet. So you're looking at a, large poster size sheet where you can run covers for books. You can run short run text for the inside of books, business cards. We do a lot of variable data. So we're doing like real estate mail outs and mailers and things of that nature. But for right now, I think due to COVID, we've got into a lot of medical printing, which is a lot of these books that are, kind of marrying with their equipment. And as, event stuff has went down because there's no events, this medical printing business has kind of kept us afloat. We moved here in March. And so we are kind of still getting situated, but everything's up and running. And so I'll move to the next one. That's digital printing. So on the other side of the spectrum is offset printing. Offset printing can get you a 40-inch sheet where you can do heavier stocks. You can do larger runs. So if somebody needed you know, for example, 10,000 books, it would come to this press rather than to a small digital press that has a 20-inch sheet. We could run more pages per signature, and we can also do really thick stocks of paper, boards and things like that. So we actually, in the last 4 or 5 years, have got into packaging. So we're printing, you know, boxes and then folding and gluing them. So basically those thick boxes, which can be, you know, we're doing medical kit boxes, cosmetic boxes, any type of real retail packaging. We're printing it on a huge flat sheet, die cutting it down, folding and gluing it, all here on site. So this huge machine basically gives us the capability to have that thicker stock and run those higher volumes to support the bigger clients. Another section of our business of printing is we've got into large format printing. So banners, wall graphics, window graphics, all done here. We have capabilities. I have some clients like Cisco and the Sharks, which are both, you know, on the non-delivering end currently, but we would drape their building with a, you know, 50-foot banner. We do their windows, walls, floors with graphics and things like that. So this is a semi-new, you know, 5-6 years that we've been doing this portion of this business. But before COVID, it was really exciting, doing a lot of cool stuff, putting graphics everywhere. So this is something that we're just kind of now starting to do. Some of the places that are opening up, like Happy Hollow and things like that, they're starting to redo all their banners that have kind of been sitting for years. So this is an exciting portion of the business that I'm really looking forward to kind of getting back out there and doing these things. When people go back into the office, this is like where this side of the business really takes off. Some examples of— I'm
not sure I understand.
Sorry, Siri. Some of the examples of it, like I said, are banner graphics, you know, huge banners like this. We do them all in-house. We do the installation. Our main installation guy, he's actually from Morgan Hill, so we've always worked with him in San Jose. So now he's local, so we're kind of just waiting for those opportunities. Boards. So also with those large format printing, you know, any board stocks or a lot of the signage that we would do for events would be like in lollipop stands and have a, you know, board that sits within it. So we're doing that as well. So this isn't for boxes, but it's more just like for displays and things like that. So we have tons of different board options, papers and plastics and different things like that. And we have different machines. So some of our machines actually print on a roll. Some of those banners, they print on a roll, whereas something that's rigid would print on a bed. So we have a huge, you know, 4-foot by 8-foot bed, and we could basically print directly onto any type of rigid material, even a door. If you took your door off of the hinges, we could lay it flat on there and literally print on top of the door. It's really cool. Another cool thing with the board printing is we have a router cutter, which basically cuts down to shape. So once we've printed this huge board of a, you know, life-size picture of Brittany, we can actually cut it down to shape, you know, make a little box for her to hold in her hand that could be like a display, you know, so, and basically do that all here, put an easel on back and, you know, stand it in the corner. So that's really fun stuff that we can do that we could never do, you know, just printing on a traditional or digital printing press. So this department is really fun, and it's, you know, just kind of waiting for it to get jump started again. Just an example of some of the floor graphics. So we do full floor graphics. We do small, you know, 6 feet circles. All those things are pretty much a niche for large format printing. Just a sample of the wall. Window graphics, which I kind of spoke to these. The custom packaging that I was talking about. So as I said, we print them, we cut them, and we fold them and glue them all here. So we have several lines. So depending on how big the box is or how big the folder is, we use different gluing and folding machines for that. The online storefronts, we still offer those, and those did pretty well, I feel, during COVID when small shops and local stores had things that they wanted to put online. We had, a lot of custom built out sites that we could just rebrand and reuse for their products. So if their door was closed, we were able to kind of support them by storing their products in our warehouse. Orders come in, we receive the order, we ship the order out, we update the tracking information, and it goes into their e-commerce store. So this is something that we went really, really heavy on, in the past 15 years. But to me, it's not one of the main things that I'm driving with. I'm really trying to drive with the print and have all these other pieces, like I said, kind of can complement it, but not really going heavy on, trying to create these storefronts where it's like, to me, the core business is printing. I want to make sure I'm doing our core business so that we could stay here for another 40 years. Logo merchandise. Logo merchandise is an interesting business as well. So we are Sage members, which basically opens us up to all the preferred merchandise vendors across the nation. So basically we go into a tool, we search what we want, and it gives us a preferred vendor for it. Sometimes it's just a vendor maybe, for the actual product, and we can do, embroidery locally and things like that. But sometimes, they're printing directly to the bottle in Kentucky, and it's the way that it works. And it might seem strange if you don't know the business, but a lot of this stuff is done in Middle America and are kind of, these logo merchandise companies aren't doing really anything in-house. Maybe they'll do some pad printing on a cup, or embroidery, which, or silk screening, but really printing on a lot of these different items is, to me, it's not done too often locally. If you guys know someone locally, totally happy to partner with them on things. But like I said, for embroidery and screening and things like that to complement logo merchandise, we are doing that local, but sometimes the way it works is you kind of just buy it out. We just like to make sure it's being done at least in the United States. And then what we've done is for certain items, we kind of vet our own vendors so that we know what quality of product we're going to be receiving. So we're going to be passing it on. So interesting piece of business there. Like I said, I'm not diving deep into stuff like this or really trying to promote this side of the business because it's not the core, right? It's not the core of the business, but it's a nice value add to become like a single source for some of these companies that don't want to deal with another vendor to do their hats, and they still need to get some books done. And they ask me, and 9 times out of 10, I can help with both. I just wanted to show you one more thing. So this is so fulfillment, as I was saying, we do warehouse products here for our customers and ship to different locations globally. I've worked with Cisco Systems myself personally for the past 15 years as kind of as their main sales rep. This is before we moved here, and kind of so Cisco kind of lost their momentum when it came to events, obviously, as a lot of companies did. And it actually freed me up to kind of be the leader that I'm trying to be today with the company. So if that was kind of still going and I was running after them, I don't think I would have had this opportunity to really try to redevelop this thing, So when that comes back, I already have plans for how that's going to get handled. But for now, I kind of feel free from that corporate life, and I'm back in the blue collar zone. So I like it here, and I think it's fun. I just wanted to show you guys, and until you come in, so something like this is a perfect bound book. So it has the hard spine, has the basic black and white text, color cover, and it's glue bound. So we do this here as well. We'll print the covers on one machine, print the text on another, and have a machine that marries them both together and binds the spine. Another example kind of binding is, just your traditional magazine or type thing, and these have a staple center. So basically we would print this. This is a full color catalog. We would print it, marry it, and then stitch the two ends. And that's kind of another way that we're, binding here as well. So like I said, we do keep a lot of our paper. So we have a lot of approved papers and boards and banners that we kind of trust. And so we have a lot of that stuff that we actually store in-house. Not everything is ordered on demand. If we know it's a product that we use and we stand behind it, we will get a nice amount of it stored here. When orders come in, things can go out the same day. One of the things I pride myself on is kind of doing things in-house, selling what we do here. And that's kind of why, I'm kind of giving logo merchandise and stuff a hard time, but it's really, I like to be able to control the product that's going out. So that's very important to me. And that's pretty much it for the services. I hope you guys have some questions. I love answering questions. And like I said, if you guys ever want to come down to Concord Circle, the door is always open. You don't necessarily have to call me in advance. I'm pretty much here all the time. So door is always open.
Well, thank you, Tony. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Questions, Larry Carr.
Thanks Tony. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, very cool presentation. Are most of your clients business clients?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since I've got here, I did the menu. I did the Mr. Falafel. I went in there for some food, and before I know it, I'm printing his recipe for his kitchen, laminated, left-hand corner, hole with the loop. So I, printed those for the kitchen. I definitely do small business, ones and twos. We don't close our doors to those people. We're definitely doing a lot of business to business is the core, but we do a lot of independent stuff as well. Independent publishers, like I said, menus. So even Betsy's, so after I did that for him, he wants to redo the Betsy's calendar, and a lot of them, probably a lot of restaurants, they don't even have the files for these things. So they couldn't change the price or the recipe or anything if they wanted to, So that's one of the first things he came to me for both of them, like, can we make changes to this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So, we have a pre-press department that does that all the time. So had them retype the whole thing. And I told them, you want to go to another print shop or you want to go to Kinko's? Now you have the file, here's the product, but you also have the file too. So
yeah. That's cool because, watching your presentation, you do have the very high-end equipment and things to do all that with. A question and a comment. First, most of your materials are highly recyclable materials. Do you have a recycling or perhaps take-back program that can support the city's goals on recycling?
Yes, indeed, I do. So when Edith came in, I was kind of showing her how we recycle and do all these things, and she didn't ask, but it dawned on me, how much are we recycling here? These guys come in every Monday and they're taking tons of this stuff. So we work with international paper, so we also buy from them, and and they come and they recycle our stuff. So I pulled one of the last. They actually used to, in the heydays, send a nice check as well. So for that recycling, they would actually pay us for it. So I asked the county, I said, can you send me the next statement that comes in? I'm curious how much we're doing, how much we're recycling. So I took 1 month, multiplied it by 12, and it was 1 million pounds of recycled paper that these guys are picking up annually, which I think is awesome. Yeah, I think the cost of that check that came was about $7.68, the new one, so I was showing it to them, like, oh my gosh, it used to be $1,500, So it's not a money grab by any means. And I think knowing that we're pushing $1 million of stuff that, is not getting wasted, it's getting put back into the system. I was actually very proud of that. I don't know how that sounds to you guys, from other people that are recycling, but I think it sounds pretty good from my perspective.
Tony, it sounds very cool. And I would wonder as well, but do you have a take back program where I could bring materials to you? If I purchase a bunch of materials for you and don't use them all and need to update them, can I bring the old stuff back and you will recycle it for me?
I would say I do not have that program, but I would also say if you called me and you said, hey, I have these 500 books sitting in my closet that are completely obsolete, can I drop them off? I would probably tell you yes. And from your trunk straight to the bin, And when international paper comes, it's, sometimes we give them a whole bin of books in boxes. We don't even tear them out. And other times we separate the cartons from the paper.
Yeah.
So I would say we don't have the program, but if that's something that, could help this community, we could probably set something up, a weekend drop, or I don't know, I'm definitely open to some cool stuff like that. I have the bins for it, and I can also call and say, hey, I need you guys to come twice this week. And it's not a problem at all. So
yeah, I think I would hope that would
really
be
awesome.
the kind of thing that a lot of businesses would be interested in, should they have materials, since you're recycling them anyway and producing these highly recyclable materials. And that would just help the city's goals in recycling. And then finally, I would say that the services that you provide, and we hope that if you're not already, that you're going to become a chamber member. The services that you provide are critical services for businesses in Morgan Hill, and we should be, as a chamber, we should be using Tony and his services to help recruit other businesses to Morgan Hill. The large job providers that we want to bring to Morgan Hill, they need these kinds of services, and knowing that they're right here in Morgan Hill is another selling point for us. So as Tony joins the chamber, we need to think about using him to help recruit others into our community. So Tony, thanks for being with us, and we're glad and excited to have your company in Morgan Hill.
That's so cool. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Marby.
Tony, hi. Thank you for the presentation. I've got to admit, when I saw that you were coming, it sort of piqued an interest in me, because I was in printing and all that sort of stuff a lifetime ago.
Okay.
So very interesting. So some of my questions are kind of centered around that. Your facility, what's the size of your facility as far as square footage and so forth?
We're at 38,000 square feet.
Wow. Okay.
Our large format department is on a second level mezzanine that we have, which is about 3,000 square feet as well.
Okay. And how many employees do you have employed there?
About 30.
30. Okay. Do you guys run 24/7 or?
No, we typically run one shift.
Okay.
Yeah, unless we need to. We can definitely scale up if we need to, but currently we're just running one shift.
Right. And so you said you've got the digital press, you've got the offset press. Sounds like you have a pretty full binding and finishing area. And you mentioned pre-press to some extent. Is that like a full, my idea of pre-press goes back again 20, 25 years. So I know it's very different now, but so you guys you can take it from start to finish as far as the pre-press?
We can. So our pre-press, to me, it doesn't have a very strong creative aspect to it. So having like a designer is something that I've had my sights on kind of since before I moved here. It's like, okay, I'd love to have somebody set up this book in the right pagination, but also have the eye to help us rebrand our business, because that's something I want to do. A lot of the branding that I have is kind of, I haven't gotten into, well, I have actually, but I haven't pushed out any of the new like look and feel that I want for the company. So I think collaborating with local designers is something that's definitely going to happen. But I would say if you wanted to get something, designed that was intricate, I wouldn't be really throwing that service at you, because I think there's a design, and then there's pre-press, which is preparing those designed files to print.
Got it.
So yeah.
Got it. No, it sounds very cool. I am definitely going to take you up on that offer. I'm very curious to see your facility there. So I'll either be stopping by or calling you just to come on in and take a look. Thank you so much.
That's okay. Of course.
Thank you, Marby. John.
Hi, Tony, thank you for the presentation. I didn't know that it could be so interesting. Now I know a lot more, and so you got a couple questions brewing in me. I don't know if I caught, how long have you been actually open and in business and running these days in Morgan Hill?
In Morgan Hill, we moved in March 1st.
Okay, so
yeah, we moved out of our building, the end of February, and somehow had an incredible March. Even with all the moving and everything, it was like a great sign that it's going to be all right.
Wow. Okay, great. Well, welcome to Morgan Hill.
Thank you.
So it sounds like you do a lot of things, including maybe some, well, novelty stuff. It sounds like you farm out some of the smaller stuff. Now, one of the things that I know that we've used in town are they're like vinyl posters with some adhesive on them. You put them on the sidewalk, then you can remove them supposedly later. Do you do things like that?
Yes, we do. Yeah, so we have, anti-slip, anti-slip and anti-grip floor decals. So we can get those in permanent. We can get them in removable. Yes, we do. And that's something we do in our large format department. So those would print on a roll and then kind of route or cut to whatever shape you want. And yes, we do, definitely.
Oh, okay, something to think about with some of our event committees. Your primary business is B2B. Have you been in contact with some of our local graphic design companies like Design Factory Graphics and some of those? Because I know you've only been here a couple months, so we do have some local companies that could probably benefit from your services.
I have not. I would love to collaborate with those people. Those are, like-minded people. I like to think, they have the design and I can bring it to life, and it's what I do. And I have a very, tight eye for that stuff, for quality and just for the way things are supposed to be, where they're supposed to trim and things like that. So no, I haven't collaborated with designers locally. But I did want to add that before I moved here, I actually scouted the print scene. Even though we're not a big like local printer, or we weren't in San Jose. I don't think we ever did anything for like the city, or maybe I wasn't involved in those discussions, but it seems like a different feel here. And so before I came, I kind of scouted out the print shops. I knew we were going to need some support during our transition. And so I called, 3 or 4, introduced myself, had conversations with the owners, let them know I'm coming. And then all of a sudden, we needed help. And so I passed on Chase VP to one of our guys, like one of our production managers. So he made that call. So I'd already talked to him. He made that call, and he supported us greatly during the transition. So very thankful for that, very thankful to him for supporting us like that. And now when we have little things that kind of, this is not really our niche, I've actually, sent them to him, and he's like, oh, this is great, So I do see us collaborating more. I don't know, how long. I know he's been moving his shop around and doing things, and I know he's downsizing it, but his support was amazing, and I totally reciprocated. So if he ever needs anything from us, we're here for him. So that was really exciting. I found him, I felt, and we ended up using him a lot because we had machines. Basically, I didn't realize it, but every machine did not come up, right away. So we would, deinstall it, reinstall it, and then deal at least a week with each machine, just getting back to where it was, or getting close. And some machines, we have one machine we don't even have power yet to. Here we are, a couple months, we're still arm wrestling with PG&E. We got our permits and everything's good to go. But, we're still limping along, but we're doing really well at the same time. So all the machines are up now. Just one of them is dependent on a generator, which we hate. It's like a leak in our ship, but hopefully by the end of June, that thing will be gone. So.
That's wonderful. I really look forward to you working with the other businesses. Have that ecosystem here so that we can continue to send our local businesses to each other in this town to conduct commerce. Just keep it local. So I do appreciate that. Thank you. I've got to go to another meeting. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Any other questions for Tony? Well, Tony, thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting. I know I'm going to tell our HR folks that if they've got printing or anything they need to do, to come to you.
Yeah, it's not too small. It's never too small. I'm here to support.
Rick, I did have one question. You haven't said anything, Tony, about marketing. The only thing you've said is you went to Mr. Falafel and got business. What is your marketing setup? Do people just
so we do have some sales reps here, and I've kind of I haven't been taking the marketing role myself to go out and try to get that business. That kind of just fell in my lap as I was, grabbing lunch. But we do have, I have been seeing email chains between our 5 sales reps, and they've kind of been picking at local companies and kind of, oh, this is mine, I'm going to go after this, I'm going to go after this. So I don't think anything has come through, so to speak, but I believe that they have touched or looked up most of the companies here in Morgan Hill. I haven't followed up to see, hey, what's going on? But I do believe that we can support a lot of them here, and I think that we are going after them. I just don't know exactly if anything has come through yet. But when something does, believe me, I will let Brittany know and say, hey, to me, it's exciting when something is local and I'm able to help with them. So I do see there's some big companies here. Specializes next door. I don't know how much they do locally, and I heard that's a tough one to crack, but it's inspiring just to have them here and know that we do a lot of Bell sports and a lot of things in that genre of print. But yeah, I haven't got anything cool like that, but I'll definitely let you guys know. Or if you have any tips, you want me to, I think joining here is also a good connection, just to meet different people from different companies. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm not really, coming vicious with the marketing, but if you have recommendations or places you want me to be or people you'd like me to meet, I'm all for it 100%.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tony.
Thanks, Rick.